When you buy a house, there's usually a very clear expectation of where your property begins and ends.
Right. It's incredibly precise.
Yeah, exactly. You have a physical fence, a surveyor's line, and well, it's just universally understood. You don't have to constantly explain to your neighbors they can't, like, just build a shed in your backyard.
Yeah, we rely on those physical markers. They're visible, they're categorized, and honestly, they provide a massive sense of psychological safety.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, our brains just love knowing exactly where the lines are drawn.
But then you look at our relationships.
Oh, yeah. That's a whole different story.
Right, with our friends, our family, our coworkers, suddenly there are no fences.
Mhm.
We're operating in this invisible, frankly murky landscape of personal limits.
It is the absolute definition of interpersonal muddy waters.
Muddy waters. I like that. And for someone just starting the journey of trying to build those invisible fences, it can feel incredibly overwhelming, if not downright terrifying.
Absolutely, because without visible markers, we end up guessing what people need, and they end up guessing what we can tolerate.
Which is exactly why we are going there today. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're tackling the absolute basics of boundary setting, specifically tailored for anyone who feels like they're basically drowning in other people's demands.
And it happens to so many of us.
It really does. Our stack of sources today is phenomenal, by the way. We are pulling from psychology articles, workplace training guides from the University of Florida, some great mental health worksheets, and excerpts from a text called The Book of No.
That's a great one.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is simple but powerful. We want to equip you to replace those exhausting, people-pleasing habits with self-compassionate, healthy boundary practices.
I love that mission.
So, okay, let's unpack this. Where do we even begin with a concept that is just, well, entirely invisible?
Well, what's fascinating here is that fundamentally our boundaries teach others exactly how to treat us.
Teach them how to treat us.
Exactly. They demonstrate what we allow, what we say no to, and what we reinforce with our words and actions every single day.
Right.
But before we can even talk about the mechanics of setting a boundary, we really have to look at the psychology of why we avoid them in the first place.
Because it's rarely just forgetting to set them.
Right. Oh, totally. We need to understand why just the thought of saying no fills so many of us with this intense, visceral guilt and anxiety.
Ugh, that guilt is so heavy. I mean, I was looking at the research from Haley McGee in our sources, and it completely reframes this entire dynamic.
It really does.
Like, we often think we're just being nice by saying yes to everything. We pride ourselves on being, accommodating.
Right. We think we're being good people.
Yeah, but the literature actually calls this pathological altruism.
Pathological altruism. It's such a striking term because it forces us to look at the harm embedded in our quote-unquote niceness.
Yeah, what does that actually mean in practice?
Well, the definition here is placing someone else's perceived needs above your own in a way that actually causes you self-harm.
Wow. Causing yourself harm just to be nice.
Exactly. The research points out a really hard truth here. People-pleasing isn't actually about generosity.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's actually a fear-motivated survival strategy.
Oh, wow. So you're basically trying to buy safety.
You are. You're seeking physical, social, emotional, or even material safety. I mean, evolutionarily, human beings needed to stay in the tribe to survive.
Right. Getting kicked out meant you wouldn't survive the winter.
Exactly. Being rejected meant literal danger. So today we say yes because our nervous system is terrified of being rejected, abandoned, or just perceived as difficult.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
And the sources contrast that fear-based response with genuine kindness, which I think is a critical distinction to make.
It's the core distinction.
Right, because genuine kindness is intrinsically motivated. It's rooted in free will. You're giving because you actively want to, not because you're terrified of the social consequences if you say no.
Exactly. And Haley McGee introduces this brilliant concept called the inside-outside test to help you figure out which one you're actually doing.
Oh, I love this part. Tell them about the test.
So when you are being genuinely kind, your inside feelings match your outside actions.
Right.
You look happy to help on the outside, and internally, your nervous system is calm, and you actually feel happy to help.
But when you're people-pleasing, you get that massive internal mismatch.
Yes, the mismatch is huge.
Like you're smiling, nodding, acting totally agreeable on the outside, but on the inside, your stomach is in knots. You feel resentful or overwhelmed or just completely shut down.
And that internal mismatch is the hallmark of the people pleaser. You are exhausted and frustrated.
Oh, completely.
And ironically, by trying so hard to keep everyone happy, it leaves you feeling deeply disconnected from the very people you're trying to please.
Okay, let me push back on this for a second, though.
Yeah.
Just on behalf of anyone listening who was raised in a culture or a family where you are just expected to always be accommodating.
Sure, yeah.
Doesn't setting boundaries make you inherently selfish?
Hmm.
Like, if I stop doing things for people, aren't I just being a bad friend or a negligent family member?
Well, you're hitting on the most common, deeply ingrained misconception about this entire topic.
Right, we all think it's selfish.
We do, but the reality is the exact opposite. Setting boundaries is a profound reflection of self-respect.
Self-respect.
And it is actually the only way to sustain a long-term relationship. I mean, think about what happens when you constantly overgive out of guilt.
You just get angry.
You build resentment.
Yeah.
And resentment and burnout are what actually destroy relationships. By setting a boundary, you are preventing that resentment from rotting the connection from the inside out.
That's a great way to put it. It's almost like people-pleasing is this secret, unspoken contract we make up in our heads.
Oh, I like that. A secret contract.
Yeah, like we're silently saying to the other person, I will overgive, I will swallow my feelings, and I will trespass my own limits. And in return, you will make me feel secure, valued, and loved.
But the other person didn't sign that contract.
Exactly. They don't even know it exists.
You've essentially created a ghost contract. You're operating on a transaction that only exists in your own mind.
A ghost contract. Wow.
And when the other person inevitably doesn't deliver the appreciation or the security you secretly expected, well, you end up punishing them for breaking rules they never knew they agreed to.
Oh, that is so true.
Yeah.
You feel taken advantage of when in reality you offered yourself up on a silver platter.
Precisely. You handed over the keys.
So if we want to rip up that ghost contract and start building those invisible fences we talked about, how do we actually do it?
That's where we get to the practical stuff.
Right. The University of Florida training materials in our stack lay out this practical four-step framework. But before we get to the words we use, which I know everyone wants the exact scripts for, we have to recognize when a fence is even needed.
Step 1 is always to identify the problem.
And it usually starts in the physical body long before our logical brain catches up, doesn't it?
It does. Our nervous systems are excellent early warning detectors. The sources mention tuning in to very specific physical cues,
Like what?
like does your jaw tighten when a certain coworker approaches your desk? Do you break into a sweat when your phone rings and you see a specific relative's name on the screen?
Ugh, yes, the dreaded phone call sweat.
Right. Or do your shoulders creep up to your ears during a meeting?
It's like looking at the dashboard of your car.
Mm-hmm.
Anger, frustration, physical tension, resentment. They're basically your brain's check engine light.
That's a perfect analogy.
They're warning you that a boundary is currently being trespassed and needs to be established. And, if you ignore a check engine light for long enough, the whole engine catches fire.
And that fire is burnout.
Exactly.
So to prevent that engine failure, you have to look at what's actually under the hood. Alongside those physical cues, you have to identify your core values.
Which means asking what you're actually trying to protect.
Yes. Is it your limited free time? Your mental health? Your emotional energy for your own kids?
Right. Because when you ground your boundary in a core value, prioritizing your well-being suddenly makes logical sense, rather than feeling like a selfish impulse.
Exactly. It shifts from I'm being mean to I'm protecting my energy from my family.
Okay, so step 1 is identify. The check engine light is blinking. My jaw is clenched. I know something is wrong, but how do I translate that physical panic into an actual rule? I mean, I can't just yell at my coworker that I'm sweating.
No, please don't do that. This is where we move to step 2. Defining the boundary.
Okay, define.
You have to pause that automatic yes reflex. The Book of No has an incredible checklist for evaluating any new demand on your time or energy.
Oh, I love this checklist. It's so practical.
It is. Before you agree to babysit or join a committee or take on an extra project, you need to force yourself to pause and ask 5 questions.
Okay, lay them on me.
1, do I actually have the time for this? 2, what will I have to give up to make this happen? 3, am I feeling pressured into this?
Which is usually a yes if you're a people pleaser.
Always. 4, will I resent the person asking? And 5, will I feel duped later?
Will I feel duped? Man, those questions are such a powerful circuit breaker for the people-pleasing reflex.
They stop you right in your tracks.
And as you define what you need, the UF workbook suggests categorizing the boundary into one of 4 types. which I found helps clarify exactly what is being violated.
Yes, the 4 types are incredibly helpful.
So first, there are emotional boundaries. This is basically protecting your feelings and energy. For example, choosing not to absorb a friend's constant venting when you are already emotionally depleted.
Right. Then you have mental boundaries. This involves protecting your thoughts and focus.
Like stepping away from toxic office gossip.
Exactly. Or deciding to take a mental health day just to clear your head. Then third, we have time boundaries.
Valuing your hours.
Yes. Declining unnecessary meetings, refusing to check emails after 6 p.m., or simply telling someone you only have 10 minutes to chat.
And finally, physical boundaries. This protects your personal space, your comfort with physical touch, or even prioritizing your biological needs, like taking a quiet walk on your lunch break to decompress.
By defining exactly which type of boundary is being crossed, it becomes infinitely easier to craft a response.
Because you aren't just flailing in anxiety anymore.
Right. You know exactly what piece of property you are trying to fence in.
Which brings us to step 3, the most terrifying part for most people. Communicating. I know my jaw is clenching, I know my time boundary is being crossed, but how do I actually communicate my limits?
This is where people completely freeze up.
We do. We know what we want to say, but we are terrified of triggering an argument or making the other person defensive.
The mechanics of language become incredibly important here. The sources heavily emphasize the power of I statements.
I statements. Wow.
Because the quickest way to start a fight is to use a you statement, like, you always interrupt me, or you are so disrespectful.
Oh yeah, that immediately triggers the other person's threat response.
Instantly. Instead, you shift the focus to your internal experience. I feel frustrated when I am interrupted.
I feel frustrated.
Yes. You're expressing a firm need without launching an accusation.
Let's make this super concrete with some scripts from the sources.
Okay, let's do it.
Take the classic unannounced visitor. Someone just drops by your house expecting you to host them.
A nightmare for a lot of people.
Truly. The sources suggest using positive opening remarks to lower the tension before dropping the boundary. So you would say, I really appreciate our time together, but I need some heads up before you come over. Could you please call or text me first?
The neurobiology behind that is really fascinating.
Why does that work so well?
Well, when you start with, I appreciate our time together, you are signaling to their nervous system that they are safe. You are affirming the relationship.
That I'm saying I still like you.
Exactly. And once their defenses are lowered, they are much more capable of actually hearing the logistical request that follows.
And what about the workplace? Because you can't always just drop a flat no on your boss or your team without facing some professional consequences.
No, you definitely have to be careful there.
The sources advise offering a constructive alternative. Like, if someone wants a meeting on your day off, you don't just say, no, I don't work weekends. You say, I can't have a call over the weekend, but Monday morning works for me.
By offering the alternative, you demonstrate that you are still reliable and collaborative.
You're still a team player.
Right. You're committed to moving the work forward, but strictly on terms that respect your established time limits.
Now, let's talk about family. Because if you're listening to this right now thinking, yeah, but if I say no to my mother-in-law, she'll ice me out for a week. Well, the sources actually address that exact fear.
Family dynamics are the hardest. Human beings are deeply programmed to believe we have to assist family at all costs.
Always. To help with this, the sources provide 3 different, highly constructive alternatives to replace a direct, blunt no with family members.
Yes. The first is the direct but respectful approach. You might say, I appreciate your concern, but I'd rather handle this my own way.
I'd rather handle this my own way. That is incredibly useful for family members who mean well, but tend to overstep into your personal life choices or parenting decisions.
Exactly. Then the second one is the honest logistical alternative. I can't take the kids on Fridays because that's the only day I have to run errands.
Notice why that works so well. By grounding the refusal in time and space, like in sheer logistics, you remove the emotional sting.
Right. It's not about them.
You aren't rejecting the family member. The clock is just out of hours.
Yes. And the third is the prior commitment alternative. I can't come for Christmas because I committed to seeing other family members.
It is what it is.
If they respect you, they'll understand you aren't made of magic.
And if they don't respect you and they throw a tantrum over a perfectly reasonable logistical conflict, well, that's highly valuable information about the health of that relationship that you need to have anyway. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. I want to try this out.
Oh, a role play.
Yeah, let's do a quick slightly messy role-play scenarios so you, the listener, can hear what this actually sounds like in practice.
Sounds fun. Set the scene.
Let's imagine I'm at work and you are the coworker who constantly comes to my desk to complain and spread toxic office gossip. It's draining my energy, a clear violation of my mental boundary. Let's see if I can do this. You start.
All right, here we go. Hey, did you hear what management is doing with the new promotions? You are not going to believe who they passed over this time. It is a total disaster, honestly. These people have no idea what they're doing.
Look, you always come over here and dump your drama on me, and I can't take it. You're ruining my vibe. Just stop gossiping.
Okay, time out. Let's look at what just happened.
I messed up, didn't I?
Well, you used the word you 3 times in 2 seconds. You always come over, you dump your drama, you're ruining. As the coworker, my immediate reaction is going to be defensive. I'm going to say, wow, fine, be a jerk about it and storm off. Let's try it again, but this time, apply the sources framework.
Right. State the situation neutrally, state your feeling using an I statement, and state the desired result.
Exactly. Give it another shot.
Okay. The ghost contract is ripped up. Let me try again.
Did you hear what management is doing with the new promotions? It is a total disaster.
I feel uncomfortable engaging in office gossip. I need to ask you to refrain from it when I'm around.
Boom. Notice the difference there.
It felt totally different.
It's polite, it's about your internal comfort level, but there is absolutely zero wiggle room for me to argue with that.
It feels much cleaner.
Yeah.
But we have to be realistic here. That brings us to step 4. Enforce. I've communicated the boundary, but people are going to test it, right?
Oh, they definitely will test it.
Because if someone is used to you being their personal safety net, they're going to be deeply triggered when that net is suddenly pulled away.
You have to expect resistance. Change is highly uncomfortable for everyone involved. And when the pushback inevitably happens, the UF materials provide a vital strategy called tiers of responses to enforce the boundary without losing your cool.
Tiers of responses. How does that work?
You start at tier 1, which might just be a physical action or a gentle reminder. Like if someone is standing too close to you, tier 1 is just personally taking one step back. You adjust your own behavior first.
And if they step forward again? Because, I mean, they usually do.
They do. Then you escalate to tier 2, a firm verbal reminder. 6-foot distancing, please.
Simple, clear.
And if they still ignore it or laugh it off, you hit tier 3, a firm verbal stop. I'm not comfortable standing this close. Please take a step back. You escalate the enforcement based on their reaction, maintaining your firmness the whole time.
You taught negotiate.
Never negotiate a boundary.
This makes me think about family dynamics again, especially when you have a relative who is constantly in crisis and demanding a bailout. We think our yes is helping them.
That's a huge trap.
Yeah. But the love-to-know source makes a crucial distinction between healthy support and enabling toxic, one-sided relationship habits.
Right. Saying yes to bailing out a family member for the 10th time, whether it's with money or covering for their mistakes, might actually be the exact thing preventing them from stepping up and solving their own problems.
So true. Sometimes setting a firm boundary is the most loving thing you can possibly do, because it shatters that enabling cycle.
Yes. But it's also important to remember that setting a boundary doesn't mean you have to turn into a cold, unfeeling robot.
Thank goodness.
Right. You can absolutely maintain empathy while prioritizing your own self-care.
Like the script from Mitsukare about setting a boundary around alcohol with a friend. You reaffirm the relationship to cushion the limit you're setting. Like, bro, you know I love hanging out with you, but I'm trying to drink a little less and be more responsible. Maybe we can do something besides happy hours.
Exactly. You are explicitly saying, I value you, but I also value my own goals.
And reaffirming that connection is incredibly powerful.
It really is. It reassures their nervous system that the boundary isn't a rejection of them as a human being. It is simply a protection of your own well-being.
Let me ask you a very practical question, though.
Sure.
What if I'm totally caught off guard? Let's say a family member corners me at Thanksgiving, crosses a massive line. I'm completely surprised. I start sweating, and I don't have a perfect tier 1 or tier 2 script ready to go in my head.
The absolute best advice from the source material for that exact moment of panic is to take space.
Take space.
You do not have to resolve the conflict right that second. You can simply hold up a hand and say, I need some time to process this. Let's revisit this conversation in a few hours.
Oh, that takes so much pressure off.
Give yourself the permission to physically step away, reflect on your core values, and center yourself. And remember, you can express your limits with all the compassion in the world, but it is not your job to make the other person okay with your boundary.
Wow.
Their emotional reaction to your boundary is their responsibility to manage, not yours.
Their reaction is their responsibility.
I love that.
So what does this all mean as we try to implement this day to day? To wrap things up, let's pull back and look at the big picture of this long-term behavioral change.
Well, the most important thing to remember as you start this journey is that boundaries are highly flexible.
Right. They aren't concrete walls that you pour once and never touch again.
Exactly. What is best for you today might change in a year. Your boundaries will shift over time, and they will look vastly different with different people. Allow yourself the space to let your boundaries grow as you do.
And perhaps the most liberating takeaway from all these sources, from the workplace guides to the psychology texts, is this core truth. No thank you is a complete sentence.
It truly is a complete sentence.
You do not always owe people an elaborate excuse. When you over-explain, you just give them room to negotiate and pick apart your reasons. You can just say no.
It requires immense practice, patience, and a lot of self-compassion. It won't be perfect on day one, but a clunky, imperfectly communicated boundary is still vastly better than no boundary at all.
Absolutely. Well, as we close out this deep dive, we want to leave you with something entirely new to mull over as you go about your day.
Yeah. At the beginning of this deep dive, we mentioned that boundaries teach others how to treat us. If that is true, what have your lack of boundaries been silently teaching the people in your life about your self-worth up until this very moment?
Oof, that's a powerful question. It's time to stop relying on the fact that your neighbors should just know better. It's time to start building your fences, even if your hands are shaking while you do it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.